Welcome into this Five Clubs conversation. My name is Emma Carpenter, and this is my segment where we talk all things college golf. I am coming to you today from TPC Twin Cities in Blaine, Minnesota, which, as we know, is the home of the 3M Open that is going to be happening here in just a few short months. So lots to look forward to here in Minnesota, but also I am so excited to bring on my guest today, who I've had the chance to play a couple of tournament rounds with. It is Duke University's Erica Shepard, who has proven to be an excellent junior golfer, amateur golfer, college golfer, all of the above. She just got back from the ACC championship with a second place finish. So she is certainly going to be looking to bring that finish, that momentum from that finish into her postseason coming up here shortly. So I am so excited to speak with Erica today, and I know that you guys are going to enjoy the listen. And with that, I am so excited to welcome in today my friend Erica Shepard of Duke University. Erica, thank you so much for taking some time and joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
So Erica, things are going awesome right now. You just finished up a second place individual finish at ACCs, which we're going to get into a little bit, but things are so different right now as opposed to the last time that you and I teed it up together during COVID.
Yeah.
I think at the FAO and at Bloomington, Indiana in the fall. It was the fall of our sophomore year. Remember that?
Yeah, it was nasty out there.
You clearly have had a really, really awesome college career so far that we're going to get into, but I've got to start with, I've read all about the essay that you wrote when you were in fifth grade.
Oh my gosh.
That was, I'm sure this gets brought up to you a lot. That's all about, so listeners, Erica wrote an essay when she was in fifth grade that was all about how she wanted to play golf for Duke University. And in your commitment, when you announced your commitment, there was this adorable photo of you wearing like a Duke cheerleader outfit as like a baby. To see you fully living out your dream now. I mean, when I was in fifth grade, I think that like my dream was to like be Taylor Swift. So I can tell you that that's happened to me, that I'm living
not yet.
Dream. But I mean, honestly, what was it about Duke for you that at such a young age, it was always your dream to play golf for them?
Yeah, so I actually had a family friend play golf at Duke for Coach Brooks, Leanne Harden. I was actually named after her. My middle name's Lee. So I grew up just aspiring to do everything that she did. She won the girls junior, so that was always my biggest junior golf goal. And then she went on to play golf at Duke. And so I was like, she was like my Taylor Swift, basically. And so I just grew up looking at her, and I just got these really big dreams, and I was so motivated as a kid. Like, it was insane. So I just knew exactly what I wanted. And I just dreamed really big, and I was surrounded by such amazing people, and it's just so surreal to actually be here now. Like, I feel like I was committed. I knew I was coming to Duke for my whole life, and I've been here for like a minute, and now I'm a senior. So it's crazy. I feel super lucky, and I wouldn't have wanted to have it any other way.
College just goes by so quickly. To think that you and I in a few weeks here at the end of postseason, we're like seniors in college. Huh? That's insane.
Yeah.
It's a complete, absolute dream of yours. You know, oftentimes like we see dreams as perfect and absolutely everything we could have ever wanted. But how has your experience so far lived up to those expectations? You know, what are maybe some of the good things that you've learned from, and what are some of the experiences that you've had that might have been tough and you didn't expect?
Right. That's a really good point. I definitely experienced the downfall of having this dream expectation of Duke my entire life. I got here my freshman year, and I was like, in the first team meeting, I was like, I'm actually on the team. Like, there's no way. And I was just like completely overwhelmed. I was like, I don't know what to do now that I'm here. Like, so freshman year, it took me a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean like the entire year. My freshman year was rough. Just getting used to everything, and it was definitely all on like me and the expectations I'd set. Nothing on Duke, but so after freshman year, I kind of just had like, and after COVID happened, I don't know what would have happened if COVID didn't happen, but during COVID, I learned to just like appreciate the moment and everything that comes with it. Because once COVID ended, the end of my freshman year, like we didn't know how long it was going to take. I was like, I hope that I get to play in a national championship for Duke like the next 4 years. Who knows? We're in a pandemic. So after COVID happened, I think that I just had like a new mindset of just appreciating the moment and enjoying the moment. And I think that's when I was able to like get rid of the expectations that I'd set for this huge dream of mine to be at Duke. And so yeah, after that, it's been the best 3 years of my life. Teammates have been awesome, just really enjoying every single day here. And I'm definitely able to enjoy living the dream rather than having it is something that like puts pressure on the moment.
I mean, that's great that you can have such a good outlook about COVID and the way that it kind of put a pause on things. But I'd say for a lot of us golfers, it was kind of like, I know for me personally, I struggled with like, what am I preparing for now? I'm practicing, but I don't know when I'm going to get to compete again. And competing for me is the best part of it all. Obviously, like we're saying, Duke has always been the dream of yours, without a doubt, above all else. In your recruitment process, when did you start expressing interest in Duke? When did they start expressing interest in you? How did that really go down?
Yeah. Well, it was so different back then with like the rules, and we could like take visits when we were 12 years old. So that was me. I was taking visits at Duke when I was like 12 years old. But I went through the whole recruiting process, which I'm super grateful for. Like that led me to have absolutely no doubts when I decided to officially come to Duke, because I'd really like seen all the options, had relationships with all the coaches. I think I still took some time just to think about it. I really like Stanford as well. And so I was pretty torn. But it turns out I came to Duke, I committed on the spot. But yeah, I went through the whole process, and that in itself was super stressful process, I'm sure, as you know. Basically, I knew that I had to be in like the top 3 in my class to have Duke offer me, because Duke that's how they recruited. And so once I got to that point, I felt like that's how I was able to do it. And so obviously so much pressure on myself, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything. Once I finally committed to Duke, it was definitely a big sigh of relief.
Would you say that was kind of what drove you in your junior career, just the thought of playing for Duke?
Oh yeah. That was everything. The first time that like the coaches watched me, I actually would like text my coach from home and be like, I can't do this. Like, how am I supposed to hold a club? Like, what? Like, I would get so nervous. And then other coaches would watch me, and like, I'd be equally, like, I thought they were good schools too, but I didn't care. But like, when Duke watched me, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that was everything.
How did you play whenever the Duke coaches watched you?
Yeah, I actually played really well. I like love playing under pressure. So I was like, once I got my emotions collected, I was like, all right, let's do this. So that was good.
College coaches watching me, I swear I remember it vividly, but it's also kind of a blur. Like it's so funny. Like, it's
funny.
Different pressure than you could ever really like think of. One time, I don't know how, Erica, one time I had like 5 coaches watching me, and I was playing so bad. And I was just like, well, X, like, no. Looks like we're done there.
No. And then you'd always have one coach that was like, I swear I play bad every time they watch. So when you'd see them walking to watch, you'd be like, please leave. Like, I'm playing good.
Yes, they're like,
we had so much in our heads about this. That was insane.
Fast forward a little bit. You were able to commit to Duke, like you said, able to come and be just a huge part of the program right away. How impressive that is. But now fast forward, you're towards the end of your junior year. You just got back from ACCs, like I said, and you took second place individually, which is an awesome accomplishment, especially because you've got rivals like Wake Forest, Florida State's got a great team amongst a lot of other schools in the ACC. How does this second place individual season going to kind of bring some momentum heading into the postseason?
Yeah, that felt really good to finally get a good tournament under my belt in the spring. I kind of had a slow start to the spring, but just kind of kept pressing on. And then Phoebe Brinker, our sophomore, she won ACCs as an individual. So I think that we just finally all came together. We kind of had a transition moment as a team after the fall. Our senior left to turn pro. So we kind of had like a rebuilding, like growth kind of semester. And I think that we're all like coming together, like trending slowly upwards. And so I feel really good heading into postseason, but ACCs was great to kind of get a little bit of a confidence booster for Phoebe and I both. So yeah, that was a great week.
You mentioned the senior turning pro. I assume you're talking about Gina Kim. You know, she's an awesome player, an awesome
She's
person.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's a very sweet girl in the couple times that I've talked to her. But with college golf and the team being so small, a change in the lineup is just like inevitably, it's a change. It's a big deal. And, you know, I want to hear a little bit about how you've adjusted personally and as a team. You know, how have you been able to grow from watching one of your teammates turn professionally, a teammate who is a part of the team? Obviously, you guys still have insane depth, insane talent, but what have you kind of learned from that situation, having a change?
First of all, I would just say like Gina is an unbelievable person, and she's out there. LPGA is what she's always wanted to do, so she's out there doing that, and I'm so happy for her. But as a team, I think it was like first just addressing it, like being aware of it, like not just being like, oh, it didn't happen, like what? But it was like a big change. We went from 6 girls to 5 girls, so that eliminates qualifying. So this year's practices playing have looked a lot different. And so we've kind of had to learn other ways to prepare, because I know qualifiers, yes, they're super stressful, but also it's a super great way to prepare for tournaments. So we've kind of had to find other ways to get ourselves in pressure situations to prepare for these tournaments. So yeah, I think that the biggest thing is just like not having qualifying. Obviously, Gina as a person, as a player, we've missed her. But I think that it's made some other people, like myself included, I felt like I really had to step up to the plate. And so I think that's been great pressure to put on ourselves, because next year, I mean, I was going to be a senior anyways, so might as well start early. But I'm super proud of how our team has handled it. Everyone's just really stepped up and come together even more. So I'm super excited for what this postseason could bring.
You've played in multiple professional LPGA Symetra Tour events as an amateur, and watching now a teammate who you were really close to turn professional. How has that kind of maybe altered your perspective or your outlook on turning professional, or maybe a change in any type of preparation?
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, how I've always known what I've wanted. I think it's kind of been the same for pro golf. Like I've always known that I wanted to play pro golf after I graduated from Duke. So that's definitely still the plan, to play golf after graduating. But yeah, I think that Gina, seeing her going through Q school, like Q school in itself is insane. Like the amount of golf they play, especially in Q series. And then just like the pressure on it is like, this is your job. Like this is whether you're going to be employed or not when you graduate, or like whenever. So it's tough. And like seeing Gina go through that mental, emotional, like physical battle through Q school, I think that definitely kind of gave me an insight into what I need to be prepared for when I do decide to go to Q school. So I think that was a really good learning moment that I took from that. But as far as like the LPGA right now, I was looking at the leaderboard this morning, and I like, it's almost like a junior golf. Like I noticed, like I know so many names like on the leaderboard, like Jennifer Chang, like she was my best friend in junior golf. Like she's right up on the leaderboard. My senior, when I was a freshman at Duke, Anna Balot, she's killing it out there. So I think that when I do get out there, there's going to be so many familiar faces, and it's going to be a great time.
I think that it's really awesome being able to watch some teammates and some, especially people that you've spent so much time practicing with and competing against going through that.
Right.
So absolutely. So Erica, you mentioned that this spring, like ACCs was kind of like maybe the highlight so far. You had an awesome fall as well. In the 4 events that you played, one of them being the Annika that I was also in. Oh, you finished in the top 4 individually, which, I mean, for the listeners who might not quite understand, like college golf is extremely competitive, especially the schedule that a lot of schools like Duke and a lot of these Power 5 conference schools are playing. So being able to finish that well individually consistently is insanely impressive. And you got your first individual college win last spring at the Gamecock Intercollegiate. Like I said, college individual wins are so hard to get, playing against so many good players. How would you describe the key to unlocking this win?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one exact thing, but obviously you got to get lucky to have a win in college golf. That's just facts. But I started working with a putting coach about 2 years ago now, and I had never really like had putting instruction before that. And so that I can definitely say like pinpoint on that revolutionized my golf game for sure. Before working with him, putting was just like, when I got to the green, I was not excited at all to hit putts. But I loved everything else. But now I can definitely say that that's completely done a 180, and just kind of learning more about my putting and whatever. I remember that week that I got a win. That was one of the best putting weeks I'd ever had. So that, as well as just continued growth and like ball striking, mental game. And also I think that you play the best golf when you're the happiest. And so I must have been pretty happy that week because I played some really good golf. So everything just kind of came together, and it was a really tough field for sure. So that was a really good win for me.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear you say that up until last year, getting to the green, you weren't excited. I think that all golfers can kind of relate to. All golfers have like putted really well and putted really poorly at some point. It's just kind of the name of the game. But I personally have gone through periods of time when I felt like I couldn't miss putts, and then I felt like I couldn't make putts. So it's interesting to hear you, who's currently the 34th best amateur golfer in the entire world, talking about how it wasn't too long ago that you didn't have confidence on the greens. That's insane. Right. Can you share a little bit what kinds of things you worked on with your putting that kind of made all the difference?
Yeah, I think a big thing for me is I love the instruction side of like the swing golf. Like I feel like I know my swing really well. And when it came to putting, like I had just never had any instruction. Like I didn't know anything about putting. And so I kind of like, I don't know why I let myself do that for so long, but like I kind of just got away with it. I mean, I would grind on the putting green before tournaments for like more than anybody else, and I was not putting better than anyone else. So I should have learned that like something's wrong. But COVID summer at the USAM, it was in Maryland, and I hit the ball like so good, and I had to have putted worse than anyone in the field by like 10 shots. I missed the cut by 1 that year, and I was like, if I would have putted decently, I would have a good chance. Like I would have made match play, like hands down, like would have a chance of winning the tournament. So that's when I got connected through a friend with this putting coach. And since then it has been like so much better, but also just so much more enjoyable, just like learning about the stroke. My putting coach, he knows like everything about the putting stroke. It's insane, but just like learning what I'm supposed to do, definitely simplifying it. I mean, he talks about like never spending more than 45 minutes at a time on putting. And in the past, like I would be out there for so long. But I think that that's made a huge difference. Just being super focused, super simplified when it comes to putting and like how you practice putting. That's been big. And I think before every round, I use this like Vizio putting mat. I don't know if you've probably seen this, you know, it just has the stroke on it. Okay. It's really satisfying.
That's
so awesome. I do that. And like, I'll work with him through text, like send videos, and it's just been great to kind of have putting now as something similar to the golf swing that like I love learning about and love analyzing, and knowing what I'm doing. So I think now putting is up there with everything else in my game, and I really love learning about it.
I've got a putting coach too. His name's Larry Bobka, and he's awesome. And I swear every time I go and see him, like I just start putting better. Like it makes
Yeah.
a lot, it makes when someone who knows so much about it breaks it down for you, it's at least satisfying in the sense that when you miss putts, you can at least identify what went wrong.
Right.
When in
Yeah.
the past, like finishing a tournament and hitting the ball awesome and not putting well is like the worst feeling in the world. And you're like, wow, I couldn't have hit it much better. And I finished badly because I couldn't make putts and I don't know why.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, we're not sponsored. We don't have a partnership with Vizio Putting Mat, but shout out to the Vizio Golf because I swear you're not the first person that I've heard that like someone told me who's a great player not long ago. He said the Vizio Putting Mat completely changed my life. So I guess listeners, if you wanna improve your putting, you heard it here. Erica Shepard uses the Vizio Putting Mat. So
along with a putting coach.
right. That's a big key too. We talk a lot about college golf here on my segment of five clubs, and clearly you are an excellent junior golfer, which I do want to touch on a little bit as well. But each year in college, you do seem to be finding more and more success and completely trending upwards as a college player and just as a player in general. I want to know kind of if you attribute your success trending upward in college golf to experience in college golf, or if you attribute it to just maturing as a golfer and improving your game.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a combination of both. I think that also just like where I'm at, if I wasn't at Duke, I don't know that I would have had the career that I'm having and hope to have in the upcoming year. But like at Duke, just surrounded by like the people that I'm surrounded by, the teammates that I have, coaches and support staff, like it's been like it would be almost hard to like not get better just from a person. Like they're always pushing you as a player, in the weight room, they're pushing you. So it's just been like a lot of it is I just do what they tell me to do and I end up getting better, but also just kind of when I came into Duke, I thought that I could do the same things that made me successful in junior golf, and that would lead to success in college golf. And that's just not the case. So after I learned that freshman year, like I learned how to adapt my practices. I learned that less is more. You can't spend 10-hour days on the golf course grinding when you're in college. Like you want to do other things, trust me.
That's awesome. That's really impressive. And what a testament to how great your coaches are and the program that they've built there at Duke. The fact that you saying, I just kind of do what they tell me to do and just completely buying into the process and it working out for you is kind of super rewarding. So last thought here about college golf, because we are kind of for you in the heat of the season, you're getting ready to head to regionals. Last year, your team had a great run at the national tournament, and it was your first time ever playing in the national tournament. You guys ended up coming short in the semifinal, but I want to know, what was your mindset heading into it last year, being your first time competing in a college golf national tournament, and how might that be different this year going in with more experience?
Yeah, last year's nationals was awesome. I couldn't believe that it was like my first one. Like everyone kind of forgot that freshman year nationals got canceled because of
Yeah.
COVID. So that'd be my first one, but we had Gina and Jarvie on the team, and I mean they've won national championships, so they knew what was going on. I kind of just like did what they told me to do. They're super good leaders, so they showed us around kind of the ropes, like how to manage yourself, how to manage your time. It's a lot of golf if you make it all the way through match play, which is what our goal was. So kind of just like conserving your energy, like conserving your emotions. That was a huge part that they preached to us, which I think is really important. But yeah, what I remember most from nationals is losing to Oklahoma State and just like that it hurt. That was Jarvie's last tournament with us, and we had such a talented team. Like it was crazy, and we knew that we could have won. But also, like golf, especially in match play, literally anything can happen. So we tried our best. It definitely sucked. I was sad for a while, but I think coming back this year, everyone that's going except for our freshmen has been there before. So I think we can kind of use that experience to kind of show her what Gina and Jarvi showed us. And I think this year, obviously, like objectively, we're more underdogs than we were last time we went. So I think we can definitely, if we make it through regionals, like use that to our advantage. Being underdogs, like that definitely, there's nothing to lose when you're in that position. So I think that it's a little bit different of a perspective, but I think it's a cool one to have, and you can definitely use it to your strengths.
Not too long ago, a lot of really great college players like yourself have the opportunity to play in the Augusta National Women's Am that happens kind of just shortly before the conference championship. So this was the third Augusta National Women's Am, and this was also your third time playing in it. So you've been in it every single year. How was that experience this year, and how did that maybe compare to the previous years?
I think being a part of the Augusta National Women's Amateur all 3 years that it's happened, and just seeing like the impact that it's had on women's golf in general, and seeing all the hype that it's brought to the women's game, it's been super cool to be a part of. Obviously this year it didn't go as planned. I didn't make the cut. I didn't get to compete for a chance to win the final round in Augusta, but I mean, you still get to play Augusta. It was still a super cool experience. But yeah, just the tournament and holes, everything that goes along with it, they make it such like there's every night there's a dinner. We get to have dinner at the Augusta National Clubhouse. Getting out to Augusta National, it's just really, really cool. And like, I can't believe that I can say that I've played Augusta National like 5 times now, and I'm only 21. So it's awesome. It's just so cool what they've been able to do for the game.
I know also, like I mentioned in that essay that you wrote in 5th grade, not only did you say you wanted to be a Blue Devil, but you also said, I mean, 5th grade, this is age, what, like 10? Like,
Yeah.
And you said that you wanted to be the first female to play in the Masters, living out your dreams as a 10-year-old in every possible way. So that's super neat. Rewinding just a little bit, you like I mentioned, you've had so much success throughout your college career. Obviously, being able to verbally commit to Duke University at such a young age showed that you had a ton of talent and showed that you had the ability to win. So in your junior career, you played in Junior Ryder Cup, multiple AJGA wins, and also winning the US Junior, like you mentioned before. Winning the US Junior is like as cool as you could possibly get in junior golf. So, I mean, how would you describe that experience, and would you maybe consider that the highlight of your junior career?
Yes, I would definitely say winning the girls junior was the highlight of my individual junior career. But then also, like you mentioned, the Junior Ryder Cup, that has to be my favorite, like overall experience in junior golf. The team that we had that week and like where we were, it was in Paris, and winning for the US, like that was such a cool moment. But like winning the girls junior is basically what got me there, along with some good AJGA stuff. But yeah, like I said, I winning the girls junior was my biggest dream growing up. When I was like 10 through 13, 14, probably my screensaver on my phone was Leanne Harden winning the girls junior, who is my role model. So I was just like, I knew I was going to get it. And I got it. I was lucky. I mean, you have to win so many matches, and like, I wasn't really heard of before then, I don't feel like. So I definitely used like the underdog mentality, and I just like absolutely wanted to beat everybody that week. So that was crazy. I was definitely a much different person back then, but I'm super grateful that that happened, and still can't really believe that it happened, to be honest.
Absolutely. And obviously it got you the opportunity to play in the US Open that you've played in twice.
Yeah.
I mean, how about those experiences and just kind of seeing like the way that you stack up against the best female golfers in the world? What do you think is like the greatest takeaway from getting to play against that kind of competition?
So when I played in the Opens, like from qualifying and then from the girls junior, I think that like from a golf perspective, that was definitely like cool to take away. Like, yeah, my short game needs to get better. Like I got to make putts. So those were cool takeaways. And also like seeing the big golf courses that pro golfers play. Definitely a little different than junior golf, like I said. But on the other side, kind of in the more recent ones that I've played in, a different, more broad perspective has been like how they have to manage their life on tour and how it can be like pretty lonely out there. And so if you see people, like I would see some people playing on tour that week that like I could just tell weren't happy. And that like I didn't like seeing that at all. So I was like, I think I need to figure out before I turn pro, like how I can be the happiest that I can be out there, because like some of them didn't look like they were enjoying it. So I think that there's some other girls that I've talked to in college golf that have kind of got the same vibe from a little bit. And I think that like I hope that changes. Like I know that it's changing now with the girls that I know are out there. So I think that's shows that the LPGA is heading in a super great direction. And I'm just really excited to be a part of that when I get out there. But I think that making sure that you're taking care of yourself and like in a happy place and can have a life outside of golf, and just kind of have that confidence before you make golf your job, I think is super important. It's something that I took away from those experiences.
I want to wrap things up here a little bit. We're going to finish off with the 5 clubs, 5 questions that I've got for you today.
All right.
So the very first question I've got for you, what is your favorite event that you've ever played?
Oh, it's got to be the Annual. I think the inaugural Annual, playing in that was like, nothing's ever going to top that.
That's a great answer. So do you have any, I've asked this one before, do you have any superstitions?
Oh, I would say no, but everyone around me would say yes. And they're probably a little more honest about that. Like I do eat the same breakfast before every single tournament round I play.
What breakfast is that?
It's like these overnight oats with like collagen in them. It's pretty good, but like it does get a little tiring, but it's a thing that I have. But other than that, I mean, I always like to wear white shorts. If I'm playing in my own outside of Duke tournament, like I'm wearing white shorts and a white visor and a white belt. So that's probably another superstition that I should get over. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I swear so many college golfers will say like, or just golfers in general will be like, oh, I don't have any superstitions, but like I need to have my bag on the right side of the tee deck every single time. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it counts.
Yeah. It's a golf thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say, obviously golf is kind of your life, but you mentioned having a life outside of golf. And with that being said, would you say that you have any talents or outside of golf?
Okay. During COVID, this is another good thing from COVID that I personally had. I learned how to like cook finally. Ooh. So I think I'm actually pretty good at cooking and I enjoy it outside of golf. So that would be my talent.
That's nice. That's awesome. That's a great one. I'm jealous. I cannot cook.
You got to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, and I just like, I'm a hungry person and I get so impatient. I'm just like, I just want to eat.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, geographically, obviously you said you've played a lot of different places. You played in Paris, but if you were to take a golf trip, doesn't necessarily have to be competitive, where would be your ideal golf trip to play golf anywhere in the world?
Definitely like the beach somewhere, like Dominican Republic. I went there this winter and it was unbelievable. I mean, I prefer, if I'm not competing, to probably not play golf, but if I was to play golf, I think on the ocean would be ideal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I played on the ocean for the first time. I like told people I've never played a course on the ocean and they're like, what? It's the best. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to do it. Okay. So 5th and final question. In one sentence, what is the best piece of advice that you would give to a young golfer?
I think I got to address golf and life in it. So I'm going to say, challenge yourself, but always have balance in your life.
I love that. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Great answer. It's important.
Not the most sophisticated, but.
No, but it's like, it's real though. And I feel like it's a conversation that isn't really had quite enough, obviously. In college sports, we've seen over the last month, like college athletes go through a lot, and it's important to always be checking in on mental health, your teammates
Right.
and your players as coaches. I know our coach sent out a lovely message and told us last night that we can always go to them if we need anything, and we have a lot of resources. But I think that having a balance in your life is 100% one of the most important things, and ultimately going to bring you the most success as well. So that's a beautiful answer, I would say.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Erica, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so much fun talking to you. We only really get to see each other kind of in passing at tournaments, so it's really nice to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Best of luck to you at regionals, and us here at Five Clubs. We're going to look forward to watching you and the rest of your career. So
thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica, for joining me today. I had such a great time talking to Erica here on Five Clubs, and she had so much insight to offer on what a balance in her life and being a happy person has done for her and her golf game. So wonderful to hear. And we wish Erica the best of luck here moving forward into her college postseason. So good luck to you, Erica. And thank you, listeners, for joining me today on Five Clubs.